Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are diving into the life of one of America's most dynamic and larger-than-life presidents, Theodore Roosevelt. You might know him as the face on Mount Rushmore, the man who said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick," or the inspiration for the teddy bear. But the real story of TR is so much more incredible. He wasn't just a president. He was a force of nature, a historian, an author, a soldier, a naturalist, and a reformer who fundamentally reshaped the American presidency and the nation itself. Born in New York City in 1858 into a wealthy family, young Theodore was anything but the robust figure we remember. He was a sickly, asthmatic child, often confined indoors. His father, Theodore Sr., once told him, "You have the mind, but you do not have the body. You must make your body." And that's exactly what he did. He embarked on a strenuous physical regimen: boxing, weightlifting, hiking, transforming himself from a frail boy into a vigorous and powerful man. This personal battle forged a core belief that would define his life: the power of will and strenuous effort to overcome any obstacle. After graduating from Harvard, Roosevelt's life took a tragic turn. On a single day in 1884, both his mother and his wife, Alice, passed away. His wife just 2 days after giving birth to their daughter. Devastated, he fled his life in New York politics and headed west to the Dakota Badlands. He wrote in his diary, "The light has gone out of my life. Out on the frontier, he reinvented himself once again. He bought 2 ranches, learned the life of a cowboy, hunted big game, and even chased down boat thieves in a makeshift raft." The Wild West hardened him, giving him a deep appreciation for the American landscape and the rugged individualism of its people. It was an experience that would profoundly influence his later policies on conservation. Returning to public life, Roosevelt's career was a whirlwind. He served as the New York City Police Commissioner, Assistant Secretary of the Navy, and Governor of New York. His boundless energy and commitment to reform earned him both allies and enemies. He was a man in constant motion, always looking for the next challenge. That challenge came with the Spanish-American War in 1898. Impatient with a desk job, Roosevelt resigned as Assistant Secretary of the Navy to form his own volunteer cavalry regiment, famously known as the Rough Riders. It was a motley crew of cowboys, Ivy Leaguers, and adventurers, all united by their loyalty to Colonel Roosevelt. Their legendary charge up San Juan Hill in Cuba, though chaotic and costly, became a symbol of American courage, and it catapulted Roosevelt to national hero status. He returned from the war a celebrity, and his political star was on the rise. Party bosses in New York, eager to get the uncontrollable reformer out of their hair, engineered his nomination as vice president on William McKinley's ticket in 1900. They thought they had safely tucked him away in a powerless office, but fate had other plans. In September 1901, President McKinley was assassinated, and at the age of just 42, Theodore Roosevelt became the youngest president in American history. The nation held its breath, wondering what this human dynamo would do with the power of the presidency. Roosevelt wasted no time. He believed the president should be a steward of the people, actively working for the public good. He took on the massive corporate trusts that dominated the American economy, earning the nickname Trust Buster. He wasn't against big business, but he believed it had to operate fairly and within the law. His administration successfully broke up major monopolies, establishing the principle that the government had the power to regulate industry for the public welfare. He also intervened in the 1902 coal strike, forcing mine owners and workers to negotiate. It was the first time a president had taken the side of labor in a dispute, and it led to what he called a square deal for all Americans. This square deal became the banner for his domestic agenda, which included consumer protection laws like the Pure Food and Drug Act and the Meat Inspection Act, inspired by Upton Sinclair's shocking novel The Jungle. But perhaps Roosevelt's most enduring legacy is his pioneering work in conservation. As a lifelong naturalist and hunter, he was horrified by the rapid destruction of America's natural resources. He believed that the wilderness was a vital part of the nation's character and had to be preserved for future generations. Using his presidential authority, he set aside over 230 million acres of public land. He created the U.S. Forest Service and established 5 national parks, 18 national monuments, 51 bird sanctuaries, and 150 national forests. Whenever you visit a national park like the Grand Canyon or Yosemite, you are experiencing the direct result of Theodore Roosevelt's foresight and passion. On the world stage, Roosevelt's big stick diplomacy projected American power and influence like never before. He brokered the end of the Russo-Japanese War, a feat that earned him the Nobel Peace Prize. He was the first American to win it, and of course, there was the Panama Canal. Convinced that a canal connecting the Atlantic and Pacific was vital for trade and military power, Roosevelt pushed the project forward with characteristic force. It was a monumental engineering feat that cemented America's status as a global power. After leaving the presidency in 1909, Roosevelt found it impossible to stay quiet. He embarked on a year-long safari in Africa and a tour of Europe, but he grew dissatisfied with the policies of his hand-picked successor, William Howard Taft. In 1912, he decided to run for president again. When the Republican Party denied him the nomination, he bolted and formed his own progressive party, popularly known as the Bull Moose Party. During a campaign speech, an assassin shot him in the chest. Incredibly, the bullet was slowed by his thick coat and a folded speech in his pocket. Bleeding, Roosevelt insisted on finishing his 90-minute speech before seeking medical attention, famously declaring, "It takes more than that to kill a bull moose." He lost the election but won more votes than any third-party candidate in history. His final years were spent writing, exploring, and advocating for American preparedness in World War I. He even volunteered to lead troops again, but was turned down. In 1914, he undertook a perilous expedition to map an uncharted river in the Amazon rainforest, a journey that nearly cost him his life. He contracted malaria and a severe leg infection that would plague him for his remaining years. Theodore Roosevelt passed away in his sleep in 1919 at the age of 60. The vice president at the time said, "Death had to take Roosevelt sleeping, for if he had been awake, there would have been a fight, from a sickly boy to a cowboy, a war hero, a trust buster, and a conservationist president." Theodore Roosevelt lived a life so packed with action and achievement it almost defies belief. He was a complex and sometimes contradictory figure, but his energy, optimism, and unwavering belief in America's potential left an indelible mark on the nation. He expanded the power of the presidency and redefined the government's role in protecting the people and the land. He truly was, in every sense, a titan of American history. Thanks so much for watching. What part of TR's life do you find most fascinating? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.